You are here because you have an older iMac computer and you want to update it, upgrade it, and you also want to stick it to the man and demand your right to repair. So guess what? Samesies. So you might be like me, you're either too cheap, too poor to buy a new computer, but you also, you just want to fight the scourge of planned obsolescence and keep your machine running as long as you possibly can. And I guess I got really meta because I had to fix my computer so I could make a video about how I fixed my computer. It's very, very postmodern that way. And I have to state my caveat up front. I am not a computer technician by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just walking you through what I did, and everything that I did was totally based on research that I did online. I'm going to show you the equipment and tools that I used to get it done, and I'm also going to tell you about a few pitfalls and warnings that I would keep in mind when you get into it. Okay, there were a lot of moving parts here, so I made notes. Here's where I started. I was way back in Monterey. Not Monterey, California, Monterey, the operating system. And as you can see, I have an late 2015 27-inch Retina 5K iMac. And as you can also see, I have maxed out the RAM on this. It's got 32 gigabytes. That's as much as you can get in there. So I had already done something to keep this computer going. But as you know, eventually the updates and everything start to catch up with you. And I was missing out on a few features that I wanted in Final Cut Pro and Logic. And, I'd really hit a wall there and it was really stagnating. The other thing was my Fusion drive was struggling and I knew my computer was really dirty on the inside because the fan was really loud and I just needed to fix all of that. All right, let's outline the overall goals here, which I'm sure are similar to yours. We want to get more lifetime out of an older model iMac because we don't want to buy a new computer. We also want to avoid obsolescence. So we want to get a perfect world where we can keep our old computer but still get all the updates for all the apps that we use and all the features that we want. We want to run newer versions of Mac OS, namely Sequoia, which is where I'm at now, and it seems to be working, so spoiler alert there. We also want to take advantage of the common remedy for a slower, older iMac. If you have a Fusion drive and your computer's slow, the common suggestion is swap it out for an SSD drive, which is what I did. Good news is, it works. Another spoiler alert. Okay, let me walk you through some of the supplies, tools, and devices that I use. The first thing is you need an SSD drive. I went with the Samsung. There are other brands out there that are recommended. Again, do an investigation and find out the one that you think is best. I have a 2 terabyte drive because that's what's in here, and I don't keep much on my computer anyway. You can get larger ones, but I've always been happy with 2 terabytes. I have plenty of headroom in there, so I'm not too worried about it. Another thing you'll need is a SATA to USB adapter, the reasons for which will become obvious very soon. Now, when you get into your computer, you're going to want to clean it, so you need a set of anti-static brushes. This is the one I used. It worked out fine. You want a series of brushes because there's all different sorts of nooks and crannies you need to get into, so probably more than one is best. You can find an assortment of these at Amazon or other computer stores. They're pretty common. So another thing you'll need is this unique looking kit here, which comes with this tool, which looks like a pizza cutter. And that's to separate the screen from the body of the computer because it is adhered with some type of tape. And then you will need some 2-sided tape or a kit like this to reseal the computer, to reattach the screen to the body. And I chose this one. It worked out fine. The nice thing about these is that the shapes are pre-cut, so they fit into the frame pretty well, and that saves you a little bit of hassle. They also have a 2-way lift and peel type of system, so it's a little easier to get the plastic seal off, whatever that is. Okay, you're also going to need a new carriage for your SSD drive to fit into the body because the Fusion drives are much bigger, and this is an adapter that allows it to fit in the space and hold it securely. Tool-wise, you're going to need a couple of torque screwdrivers, specifically T8 and T10 sizes. It's good to have a range just in case you come across something that is different in your arrangement. And you need a couple of Phillips screwdrivers. Again, keep a range handy because you never know what screws are going to be in your kit, depending on the one that you buy. You should also use a plastic spudger tool like this one that I used. It's good for peeling off the tape that you need to get off, and it also avoids you touching your motherboard with anything metal. The basic steps to this entire operation are pretty straightforward. You create a hard drive on your SSD running OpenCore and Sequoia, and then you swap it out with the Fusion drive inside your computer. Those are the basic steps. There are quite a few intermediate steps in the middle, and I added an extra one. One thing I wanted to do before I went through the laborious task of swapping the hard drive is I wanted to make sure my older computer with its older processor was going to be able to run Sequoia functionally well enough, assuming that the SSD would actually make some performance improvements as well. So I set up the Fusion drive to run Sequoia with the old processor, and I did that for a few months just to see how that worked. So that meant the first step was to install OpenCore and update the operating system to Sequoia. And I followed this very informative and concise video from Steampunk TV. So all credit to that channel. Go there and follow along. There are others out there that you might want to investigate, but this is the one I used if you are interested. And you will find the links to all the videos I reference in the description below as per usual. Okay, keep in mind, if you use OpenCore and reestablish your hard drive, it is a clean swipe. So back up everything that you think you need to back up. Make a copy of your hard drive if you can. That's always a good choice. But I do advise that you back up the library files as well, and the application files. The application files is optional, but sometimes you have some customization and some templates, and they're stored in those files. And that's the same with the library files. And it saved me a couple of times to having to re-establish them. And I was just able to go into the old files and find them. So that saved me a few steps, and that may work for you as well. Here's what I found running Sequoia on my old Fusion drive with the old processor for a few months. Let's see. It performed relatively well for most things. I do some pretty heavy processing. I'm editing videos in Final Cut. I'm editing music in Logic Pro. I use Apple Motion and Photoshop. And it generally ran quite well. There were a few times where I had some lag, and there was a couple of spinning color wheels when I was doing some really heavy stuff. But for most of the common things that I do, it ran pretty well. If you're doing common things on your computer outside of that type of heavy lifting, it's probably going to be fine. One thing that did come up, if you are running universal audio software, like you have plugins for your DAW, please check out my video about that. The issue is updating 11.7 to 11.8 in Sequoia. There seemed to be a bug, and it caused no end of trouble, and there were a number of people who reached out to me about that. So please look into that before you do this if you are running universal audio software. Yeah, the boot up times were a little ridiculous, so I was really hoping the SSD would improve that, which it did. So I did some time test comparisons between the Fusion drive and the SSD drive so that you can see what kind of performance improvements you can expect. And it did work out for me, so I'm pretty pleased about that. After a few months of running the computer through its paces with Sequoia, with the old architecture and old hardware, I felt confident that I was ready to install the SSD and finalize this whole project. So I was looking for some performance improvements with the SSD. That meant shorter boot up times, faster app launches, fewer spinning color wheels of death, and overall improved performance. And I'm happy to report that that all worked out. So I'm throwing all the spoiler alerts out there. This worked out very well for me. I feel like I have a brand new computer, and I'm all very excited about it. Now, this next step is where you need the SATA to USB cable because you need it to connect it to your computer to create a bootable drive on the SSD before you attempt to install it. And that's where things got interesting. I was under the impression when I started this whole proposition, based on my research, that I could simply clone the Fusion drive onto the SSD. Then I did some more investigation and found out that no, cloning the drive would not create a bootable disk. I didn't quite know what to do with that, but that was based on my own ignorance of this whole proposition. So I just went back to what I know I could do, which was to recreate a Monterey boot disk, reinstall Sequoia on that drive on the SSD. Now you can start this whole proposition at this point. Set up your SSD with maybe Monterey, install OpenCore, install Sequoia, get it set up the way you want so that you know when you put it into the chassis of your computer, it's going to function well. And that's where you need the SATA to USB cable, because that'll allow you to plug it into your computer and run it as a bootable drive outboard, and you can make sure that it's going to work. And that's what I did. Then I was able to test the SSD through the USB port to make sure that it was going to run the way I wanted it to, and everything looked great. So I was ready to move on to the final stage of this whole operation, which is to open the computer and install the SSD as my new drive, and that would complete everything. Before we get to the next step, though, there is one recommended thing that you might want to consider, and that's here, which is to replace the internal battery and the thermal paste. I felt it was beyond my technical expertise, so I avoided this, but you may want to consider it if you're confident. Here's a video that I followed that seemed pretty clear. There are many others online, so poke your nose around and find out what you can about this and decide if it's the right step for you. So this all brings us to the final stage in this whole procedure, which is to open the computer and install the SSD and make sure it's running as we want it to. So to do that, I'm going to have to jump over to another clip, so I'll see you over there. Now with the unit unplugged, press the power button to drain the capacitors. We're going to use the pizza cutter tool to start cutting into the adhesive. It takes a bit of work and a little bit of prying to get it separated, but do it gently. Eventually it will give way. We need to release these two cables. One has a kind of clip that you have to flip up, and the other just kind of wriggles free. The first thing we're going to do is release the speaker to free up the space to get at the hard drive, and that requires us to remove the wire, which is run through some grooves, and then you have to undo the connector. Make sure that you reconnect the speaker before you close the computer. Very important. You can release one side of the bracket holding the Fusion drive and the SATA cable, and that will free the Fusion drive. Next, we want to get into cleaning, and that will start with releasing the fan. There are 3 bolts using the Torque 10 screwdriver, and we're going to use compressed air and a vacuum cleaner and the anti-static brushes to remove all of the dust. Make sure you don't touch anything with the vacuum cleaner. There could be a static charge attached to it. Do a thorough job on the fan. It takes a bit of work to get into all the nooks and crannies, but you want it to be as clean as possible so that it's as quiet as possible. Replace the fan with the 3 bolts, and then you are ready to put the SSD drive into the carriage that you have purchased. And it's pretty intuitive as well. It really only goes one way, but once you make sure the SATA port is on the right side so it will connect. Once that is secure, you can reattach the speaker. That means rerunning the wire through the guides, reattaching the speaker connector, and using the Torque 10 screwdriver to reattach the speaker. Now I tested everything by temporarily closing the computer and starting it up to make sure it was all in good working order. So that meant I had to reattach the cables and then unattach them again to go through the final step, which is to remove the old adhesive. This is where the flat edge spudger tool that I recommended came in handy. Once you get underneath the tape, it starts to release. And then you clean the surface for the adhesive with some alcohol to make sure there's no moisture or dirt, and you get a very secure adhesion from your double-sided tape. Lay out the double-sided tape from the kit. They're cut to shape, so they're pretty intuitive. They really only go one way. Just keep in mind, up near the webcam, there is a slot that the screen has to fit into, so make sure that it is free. You can lay down the adhesive tape by removing the plastic backing and then press it into place. And then you're ready to lift the top side of the plastic strips and close the screen. Make sure you hold the screen securely in place and it is fitted into the slot that it rests in, and then press the glass into place gently but thoroughly. And there you go. Bob's your uncle. Let's move on to our time trials. Anyone would be really happy with the performance improvements of the SSD drive. You can see the time savings right here in this before and after comparison. Doing things like rebooting, starting up, launching an app. Launching Chrome is ridiculous. It's only like 9 seconds, and that's with me choosing my account and loading a web page. So those time savings apply and performance improvements apply to everything you're doing, and it really feels like I have a new computer, compared to what I had before anyway. So I really feel like all of the energy and time I put into this undertaking was well worth it. Well, there you have it, bingo bango. I feel like a kid with a new toy, and I feel like I've gotten a new computer. I'm going to get a little more life out of this one before I have to buy a new one, which I'm going to put off as long as I possibly can. If you are delving into this undertaking, I wish you the best of luck. If there's anything I can do to help out, please meet me in the comments below. And in return, if you could subscribe to the channel or recommend it to anyone else you know who might be interested, I would greatly appreciate it. I want to thank you for joining today. I will see you next time, and take care.